I'm not smart enough. I'm a failure. I'll never amount to anything. These are the kinds of self-limiting thoughts and beliefs that can leave us feeling stuck and trapped and suffocating in this sense that we're not good enough and we never will be. Why does this happen? Well, for a couple of reasons. For one thing, people tend to believe everything they think, whether or not their thoughts are actually true. And for another thing, we tend to get comfortable with what we're familiar with, even if what we're familiar with doesn't really serve us in the long run. So what I'd like is for you to join me in getting some different perspective on this. Let's break out of this shell, stand up on our own 2 feet, and get some new perspective on these thoughts and behaviors and what we can do with them. All right, let's go. Woo, much better. It was getting kind of stuffy in there with all the negativity. So these negative belief systems that can entrap us and cause us to feel suffocated and not good enough, they start out as just negative thoughts or negative opinions of ourselves that we hear from other people. And we hear that often enough, or we hear those thoughts in our mind for long enough that we come to accept them as true, even if we've never actually tested them to see if they are true. So I've got a couple of tips for you on how to work your way out of this trap. And the first one is to develop a mindfulness meditation practice. And that's because doing that can help you roll the clock back from this when you're inhabiting your thoughts, when you're making a home in them, letting them envelop you, rolling the clock back to a time before then when your thought was just the thought that you were having, just one part of your experience. Because that's what mindfulness meditation practice is. It's the cultivation of awareness, curiosity, and acceptance of your unfolding moment-to-moment experience of life. When I say acceptance, I'm not talking about accepting that thought that I'm a failure as true, just that you're having the thought is true. The content may or may not be true. So initially what we're doing is just pulling back to the 35,000 foot level of our life and noticing that we're having thoughts and that we also are having a lot more than just thoughts. We're having physical sensations. We can hear things, smell things, taste things, see things, touch things. So this helps place our thoughts in perspective and helps pull us out of that emotional entanglement we have with these kind of self-defeating thoughts that make them so hard to break out of. Okay? So if you practice mindfulness meditation consistently, you can start to develop this more objective perspective on them. So I'm going to have a couple of links for you down below with some articles and videos and even some guided mindfulness meditations that you can try on your own. In step 2, what I want you to do is take this negative thought or this negative belief and put it on trial. And look at both sides as if you were prosecuting this belief and defending it in a court of law. And you, the wisest part of you, the part of you that's most concerned with your long-term well-being, gets to sit in the middle and be the judge of both sides. So let me give you an example. Years ago, I had a client who came in to see me one time and she was in tears. She was very distraught because she was a young mother and had forgotten to pick her child up from daycare for the second time. And she had this thought running through her head that she had come to believe in pretty short order that this is the second time that I've left Johnny at daycare and forgotten to pick him up, and I'm a horrible mother and I have no business having a child, etc., etc. And she was really kind of spinning out on this negative belief. And so what we did is we did a little mindfulness practice to help her realize that, okay, she's having a very powerful and at the moment a very convincing thought that may or may not be true. Okay, but it's just a thought right now. So we were able to pull back, ground ourselves in that reality so that we could then take a closer look at this thought and really put it on trial. So what was the true part of this belief that she was having? Well, the true part was that she had in fact forgotten to pick her son up from daycare. It was also true that she felt horrible about doing this and that in that moment she felt like she was a bad mother. Okay, now what was not true about it? Well, what was missing from the entire argument on that side was that she was interested in developing a plan to really get responsible and plan her time out wisely so that this would never happen again. She was bound and determined. This happened twice. It's not happening a third time, right? And she loved her son very much. And the reality is that although she had forgotten to pick him up twice, as I helped her to remember, she had remembered to pick him up hundreds of times, right? That was also getting lost in that negative belief. So we put both sides together to arrive at a more fair and balanced statement of the situation. So, it sounded something like this. I forgot to pick Johnny up again from daycare and I feel horrible about this. And at the same time, I am now recommitting myself, rededicating myself to becoming a better mother so that this never happens again. And the reality is that I am a good mother. I pick him up almost 99.9% of the time, plus I am there for him in so many other ways in his life. And so this is an area that I need to work on, and I'm going to do that. See that? So we can own the truth that is negative and the truth that is positive and come away with a statement and a belief that honors both parts, that honors our best self and our best intentions. Then we have a belief that we're free to take a seat in and make ourselves at home in, because that's the kind of belief that's going to see you clear to the long-term well-being that you really want and the high functioning that you really want. You see the difference between the two? I hope so. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today. I hope this video served you. If it did, please head down below and click like. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And also share the video with anyone who you think might benefit from it. Also, as I mentioned, I'll have some links for you down below to my website, which is jimyort.com. There I do have some guided meditations for you and a wealth of other resources like articles, videos, and podcasts relating to your personal development goals. And also I've got a couple of free downloads for you, including one called Reach Your Peak, which is a way for you to assess your physical, social, psychological, and vocational well-being and goals and see if there are any ways that you can fine-tune the way you're approaching those today so that you can achieve what you're really looking for tomorrow. Okay, so please take me up on that. Head on over to jimyort.com, and in the meantime, I will look forward to seeing you here next time. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon.